Hey guys, it's Volka. So this is the Smite Paladin build. So this build you need many items on this build actually. So it really needs specific uniques for the build to function. So we need the staff first of all. So this is a primordial staff. So you need this to actually benefit a lot from attunement. So our attunement stacking on the build gives you a bunch of mana and HP per attunement, and then we use devotion for mana to actually get damage from the mana. So you get flat spell damage per missing mana. So you can get like more than like 2k mana on the build. So there's going to be a lot of flat damage from devotion. You also get cast speed per missing mana, but that's not going to scale. It's percentage based. But the main thing we scale for is the flat damage. And then you need these two items. So the helmet and the belt to lower the mana to 0 automatically. So this way you don't need to use something like Abyssal Echoes or Judgment or something, especially since this build has so much mana. Trying to lower your mana like manually is very, very clunky. So we're using the Tundra helmet. So when you evade, you get the Glacier automatically cast. And that's gonna cost a lot of mana. And same thing with the belt here. So when you crit, you cast Meteor. So on bosses there, like you saw, I'm evading in the beginning to lower the mana faster, and then you're gonna be also like this is completely automatic to belt. And when you get your mana to 0, it's pretty much gonna stay there, and you don't care about like for Smite itself, you don't care about the mana cost of Smite. You with this node you can make it 0 mana cost. So this makes it so you can just be 0 mana without any worry. And the only skill we actually use that has a mana cost is Javelin. And this is just for bossing pretty much. So you can do the same strat as you do on something like Judgment, where you hold down the Javelin key while you're spamming Smite. So when you get your, like when you're in positive mana, it will automatically cast Javelin. But yeah, this is basically just for battle standard. So it gives you a bunch of increased damage per attunement and Endurance Threshold. Also some extra Smite casts, so this is just like a buffing skill for bossing. So Smite, main damage skill, getting all the multipliers we can, and of course the 0 mana cost node here, making it lightning damage. So this amulet has a bunch of lightning stats, and then you can also get passives like this, more damage to electrified, lightning pen, the shock node, all that stuff. So lightning is the way to go. And you also get this lightning bolt here for extra AoE, which is actually quite important as well. Getting multipliers like this, very big ones. So this consumes your current HP, so you can't die to it, but it's the same effect as on the Twisty Art here. So basically, consumes your HP, but it doesn't matter. We have so much leech. We have the leech gloves, we have the leech blessing, and this build is a lot of damage. So that's completely fine. We are also speccing this node here for HP gain, so missing HP gained when you cast Smite, so very good. And Holy Aura for buffs, so on this setup going for pretty much like max damage, so getting the poison res, but then just going for all the damage nodes, crit multiplier. So if you need like res or endurance or something, maybe you have low rolled boots here, you can get the endurance nodes. Usually you don't need any res on this build on a paladin, but yeah, you can take those nodes. And by the way, that's why in the planner, like poison res is not capped here, but it's going to be capped with this node. And say for cold res, like Holy Aura itself gives you early res even without the node. Symbols for buffs. So on this setup, going for 5 sigils, symbols. And because we don't need block nodes, so this way you can get a lot of crit chance. And keep in mind all of this stuff here, like a Holy Aura and symbols, they're going to be getting the 1.2x multiplier with this passive. So very good. Healing Hands automatically cast with this node here. So you Smite cast and you cast Healing Hands. It's also a movement skill with the node here. You also get immunity while moving. A bunch of damage reduction when you cast it. So Void and Necrotic damage DR. You can get some extra damage on it also. It's going to be fire damage, so it's not going to deal that much DPS, but it helps with like clear speed, so it's extra AoE as well, so it does help quite a bit there. Get the 0 mana cost here as well, and then some extra ward on these. And Javelin for buffs, like I said, with the battle standard. And the passives on this build, so like I said, this here for mana and HP reach, and mainly to HP. Mana can be also useful still, regaining some mana, so you can keep using your javelin. But we of course want to be 0 mana or close to it. And on Void Knight, just getting the 5 points as we always do. On Paladin, maxing out all the attunement nodes, so we're stacking attunement, so that's amazing. You can get rest here if you need it, you can get endurance here if you need it. Otherwise you go for all the damage nodes like lightning pen, all the mana, increased mana nodes. So this gives you a lot of mana, lots of damage. This node is very strong with attunement stacking, so Endros threshold per attunement, very good. Shock, shred, electrify, mainly for the lightning shred and shock this node. We don't deal really like lightning damage over time, so that doesn't matter. We also can't go for something like Fissure here, because this, like when you're out of mana, you can't cast Fissures, so this doesn't really work for that. But the otherwise good node. Divine Essence, just tankiness and attunement, really good. This is gonna be always up with 5 points. And the effect node, you always take this on Paladin, and then movement speed. So this build is not that high movement speed if you use mountain boots, so getting to 7% is quite impactful. And the rest of the points into this node here for a bit of damage reduction or tankiness. And for the gear, otherwise from the required uniques, mountain boots, just amazing boots for like stats basically. Bunch of attributes, so attunement helps getting the 180 attributes for red ring, gives you endurance, you can get 2 LP on these or even more, so quite nice, but they are not the fastest for sure. So if you want to use something like, you know, fiery dragon shoes for example, or the chariot boots here, like you know, Blood of the Exile, you can use any of those boots for more movement speed for mapping if you want. Just make sure you cap your endurance, either with the passive or with Holy Aura. But yeah, this is like the optimal stats wise, this boot. And Bloodmage gloves, very, you know, usual for a spell build, so 4% spell crit leech also, and a bunch of hit damage taken over 4 seconds, very nice for tankiness. So you need armor shed on the gloves, otherwise you don't have armor shed, so if you only have 1 LP, just craft like a T5 or T7 armor shed until you get 2 LP. And on Devotion, we're going for spell crit chance, so you don't want to build armor shed there. So yeah, getting crit chance on this build, that's why we kind of need this increased spell crit here. Otherwise, getting crit chance is very hard. And we're also going for 1 phantom grip, so a bunch of base crit and increased crit on this. And you can still go T7 attunement instead of T7 crit chance, so you can keep attunement maxing. So we have a lot of attunement on the build already on the endgame planner. Titanheart, so DR with the staff, this is a 2-handed weapon, so DR, HP, and then, you know, you get attunement on everything, and ideally also 2 LP on these and increased mana, so that's gonna be a very, very insane mana pool. Like on the endgame planner, it's like over 2,000. It doesn't show up here at the moment on the planner, but it's a very, very high mana pool for insane damage. And Twisty Heart, so when you cast a Smite, it's an elemental spell, so you basically convert some of your HP to ward, so that's how we get the ward generation there. Also gives you basically +5 to Smite when you have a T7 Smite on it, so very, very insane. Cast speed, strength, HP, I mean, it's even such a stats, amazing. And you can easily corrupt this for Frenzy, so you get Perma Frenzy with the corruption, so that would be amazing to get, and you can easily farm this from the boss, from the timeline boss. And for the idols, we're going for these increased damage idols with HP and Pyramid Altar. Ideally, you get like prefix effect and suffix effect, you know, stuff like this on the altar. You can also get the reduced, so 7% reduced per idol at D5. So this build is close to cap on reduced crit, but you also get blind from Smite. So you don't really need to fully cap the reduced crit. It's completely fine if you're missing some. But getting the stat here is still nice. You can also get mana, extra mana with the suffix, so altar gives you a lot of value. Going for 1 omen idol on this setup, and then 1 frailty idol, so this is your only source of frailty, quite important to get.